Welcome back to the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Len. Episode, we're going to talk about a wonderful victory. Someone's probably feeling really good finally. It's been a while, it's been a few weeks. It's been a long time since the team looked this good. But before we get to that, there's a new location yet again. I haven't seen this one yet. Where are we at now, Lance?
Andrew, this is my office. If it was daytime, I would put it out the window so you could see our beautiful foothills. But that's my bookshelf. I've even got my Christmas tree up.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I just realized my sign's a little bit off center in the background, but that's okay. But yeah, this is my space. This is where I work every day. Well, when I'm
Very
not, and
nice.
so
Yeah, when you're in the office, when you're not traveling all around the world.
yeah. Well, not the world, just just the western part of the United States. So
Hmm.
yeah. No, it's good. But
Well, it's
yeah,
it's good. It's a nice office.
yeah, yeah. But it's very nice, Andrew, to be able to celebrate a win. Um, I,
Absolutely. Should we
it,
get into it? Because it was a beautiful shutout. Offense looked good. Defense looked good.
yeah.
What do you got?
What's funny is just this is an interesting side note about just podcasting in general. But so I've been listening to breakdowns of the Eagles games, the Eagles game from several different people, and the podcasts are substantially shorter when they win than if they lose. It's like
I
it's
could
like
believe that.
almost it's like almost a 2-to-1 ratio, Andrew. Where like if
Hmm.
they win, the time goes down from 100 minutes to 50 minutes. So it's just I think it's hilarious that that's how it's worked out. I, I want to make sure I'm keeping this in context. It was a great win. It was a really good win, but it was the Las Vegas Raiders, who ironically the Patriots didn't beat. So I'm always going to remember that. I'm always going to harp on that, and I'm going to
That's a
hold that
very good point.
near and dear to my heart because some people like to hold it over their heads for how the Eagles have struggled, and those are fair. But hey, there's teams that did not beat the Raiders, two in particular. So,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, it was a very good win for the Eagles. A couple of stats that I just wanted to put out that um, I've seen. The first was the Eagles did not miss one tackle on Sunday.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, there was not one moment that, according to PFF, that they recorded an instance where someone missed their assignment or someone got more yards than they were supposed to. So that's a great thing. The next thing was is the Raiders got just a little over 20 yards passing net, in net passing.
Yeah.
So that's
Hmm.
crazy.
29
Um,
yards.
and then it was, I can't remember what the exact total was, but it was in the 70s for total yards. So this was the best defensive performance by an Eagles defense since 1955 against the Chicago Cardinals. That is insane. Um,
And the Raiders just fired their OC, so it's not his fault.
well, I mean, uh, yeah, there's so much you could dig into there.
Hmm.
I always thought it was a little weird that Chip Kelly was the hire. Um, I understood why Chip Kelly took the job. I mean, to me, it wasn't just the pay. Pete Carroll was not going to stay in Las Vegas for forever, and
Right.
so it was a potential pipeline to I'm the
Yep.
new guy. And yeah, Chip could not have felt the assignment worse. He
Hmm.
definitely let himself down. He let the team down. Now, we'll see what happens for Geno Smith, but I think the Raiders would be dreaming if they thought that Smith could be the starter moving forward.
Oh yeah, they're going to be looking to draft Mendoza from Indiana. They're looking to get that number one pick because right now the Giants have it and they don't need a QB. So if you're trading from two to one, or even well, you probably wouldn't sit there at two because someone else might trade up for one. So you'd want to offer, we'll give our second this year. We'll just give you our second this year, move up one spot so we can get our guy. And I would that's almost like that trade is probably already being discussed between those two teams.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends on how the year finishes out. The Giants still have a few more games. I'd say they're a better team right now than the Raiders, so I think that they're looking at a little bit of a tougher assignment. to make sure they don't win a game. Whereas I think the Raiders, I mean, that team, Andrew, they are just,
Worst team in football? Them or the Jets? Which one?
I think it depends on the day, but right now, probably the Raiders. But, the Jets
Yeah.
quarterback situation is equally bad because, like, who's starting for them? I don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tyrod Taylor's not bad. But Tyrod Taylor does what Tyrod Taylor does. He has a couple of great games. You think maybe he's got potential, and then he suffers a huge injury that sets him back.
Mm-hmm.
Like this has been Tyrod Taylor for since the start of his career, and it's unfortunate because he's a talented quarterback, but the
Yep.
best ability is availability, and that is certainly not what he provides your team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So that was it as far as for. We got to mention Brandon Graham's 2 sacks, 7 snaps
Mm.
and 2 sacks, and that is just incredible. In fact, I wonder if we looked at the amount of snaps played by a defensive player versus their output, that has to be one of the best stats ever. Um, but yeah, I mean, he's had a great run as their interior defensive lineman. He's kind of been helping sub in for Jalen Carter on passing rushing downs. But it was a great game for him. I did want to also just kind of go over like a brief uh, high level note. Um, so the Eagles in the first quarter, a lot of people focus on this. They got 1 yard in the first play with Saquon Barkley. It went nowhere.
Mm.
People thought that was indicative of what would happen, but it ended up being a 7-minute drive. That was, and from my recollection, one of the best starting drives the Eagles have had this entire season.
Mm.
It was smooth. It was a good operation. They had a big 20-yard penalty where AJ Brown was basically held up on a pass interference. I still thought he could have caught the ball potentially, but still, they called it. It was able to work out for us. Um, the part that I really liked the most about the opening drive was the Jalen Hurts to Dallas Goedert shovel pass at the very end of the drive.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Was well executed. Goddard was in a pretty much wide open lane to get the touchdown, and it worked out very very well. And then you flip to the other side. It was just complimentary football all day on Sunday. And then you flip to the other side. Raiders get the ball driving down the field, but they go for it on 4th and 6 at the Eagles 33. So the Raiders had a chance to score. They just walked away from the points because they were worried about how far they'd get down. They were right. But Kenny
Yeah.
Pickett throws it on 4th down. It's incomplete. Turnover on downs. The Eagles then take the ball back and instantly drive down the field and get a field goal, which that could have been a touchdown drive. It was another Goddard play where Jalen Hurts throws it to Goddard right in his hands, and Goddard just unfortunately drops the ball.
Mm.
Um, so, and then we had a little bit of a punting sequence, and then another 6-minute drive by the Eagles where they go downfield, and this one is another short yardage situation where Saquon Barkley goes in. The Eagles are one of the best. The part I'm thinking about long term, the Eagles are one of the best red zone teams in the NFL. And so, as I look at the totality of this, I'm really curious how much can we really gauge and trust this performance? How much do you
Mm.
invest and say, this is the Eagles, this is who they could be? They just had to get pieces together. I mean, because I really liked the play calls this game. I said this in the last podcast. I felt like Kevin Patullo put people in position, and the players just absolutely felt him. And that's not to say Patullo is this great hero. There's been moments this year I've pulled my hair out. The Dallas Cowboys game, I thought Patullo called one of his worst games of the year because we absolutely just gave up the lead. The Bears game, I think you could put in the same category. But we're seeing better play calling. And I think the players are executing better. I also do want to give a shout out to Fred Johnson. I know that there's been some talk about how things have been rough with Fred Johnson, and understandably, those are fair points. They're fair arguments. But I think Eagles fans need to take a moment, just think about what would this team look like if Matt Pryor was the right tackle,
Mm.
like we saw in the Cleveland Browns game. I think was the one where That was the most concerning. If I'm remembering that right, I'm pretty sure it was the Browns game. But it was not looking good. It was a really rough. No, I'm sorry. It was the Browns game. It was the Vikings game. I don't know where the Browns came from in my head, Andrew. It's early. I'm tired. But it was the Vikings game that I thought that was a really big moment. And Matt Pryor was struggling. The Eagles flip him out, put Fred Johnson in, and it just flips the script. But I think that Fred Johnson's done an admirable job. He's definitely made it so Jalen Hurts can pass with this offense. Running has been struggling, but like I don't want to give Fred Johnson unfair blame because there are times where the running game's not taking off because he's not selling his block. But Cam Jerkins missed blocks. Tyler Steen has missed blocks. Landon Dickerson's missed blocks. Jordan Mailata's missed blocks. Our big problem is that everyone is taking a play off, and it makes the difference between it being a huge run versus not. And so that's one thing I still think we need to work on. Um, Mentioning the running game real quick, I just want to throw it out there. There are many Eagles fans that are talking about this being a down year for Saquon Barkley. And it's true. He's having a down year, Andrew. But he's also almost at 1,000 yards of running. Like our down year is other people's best year for running back performance. I am not complaining. He has almost the same amount of yards in the passing game as he did last year. He comes through with at least two, three catches per game. Where when Miles Sanders was the running back, he was not making those catches. I can still see it vividly in my mind where Jalen throws in the ball, it's right in his breadbasket, and Sanders just drops the ball. He just it took mental effort to get the ball into his hands and to run it downfield. That is not something you want from your running back. You want the Christian McCaffrey type effect where they're going to catch it, they're going to run with it. And I think that, like, for example, Aaron Jones, for the most part, has offered that for the Packers or for the Packers and the Vikings.
Hmm.
And you want that dependability. So I want to give Saquon Barkley a shout out. He's been dependable. He's done the best he can. I think that sometimes his vision has failed. There's a couple of moments this game and last game where the broadcasters have pointed out, man, if he just bounces it outside, that could be more yards. So I do think there's parts he could be better. But I think that's also where you have Tank Bigsby. Bigsby would help, I think, with the vision because it's less stress on Barkley and he could focus more on each carry. He could focus more on maximizing each carry. I mean, Saquon Barkley is fourth for touches this year alone, I think. As far as compared to, yeah, he has 240 carries. It's fourth in the NFL right now. That's a lot of
It's a
carries.
lot,
It's a
especially after
lot of,
last year where he had over 400, I think.
yeah, that's a lot of carries. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how the rest of that goes. Um, I I want to give. I mentioned Dallas Goedert struggling, but 6 yard or six receptions, 70 yards, two touchdowns. That's a huge day by Dallas
Big
Goedert.
game. Big
Um,
game.
Really, really big game. And these big games are making me want to cry, Andrew, because I'm pretty sure we will not have Dallas Goedert back next year.
Mm,
Um, I don't see it. I That Mark Andrews extension just about probably killed conversations between the Eagles and
mm.
Dallas Goedert. If we sign Dallas Goedert to a $17 million a year contract for 3 years, I don't know if that's a smart choice. I I know Dallas Goedert's good right now. I just in my head I'm thinking, how good is he going to be 2 years from now? And that's the struggle I have in my mind. Now, one part I did think about, and this is something just worth off season wise to think about, is it worth it to franchise tag Dallas Goedert? I think it might be.
Mm.
I haven't been in a spot where I've thought about is it good enough to franchise tag somebody? I think this might be a year that's worth it. I would talk to Dallas Goedert because I wouldn't want him to be angry because that wouldn't help anybody. But if he's open to being franchise tagged, it might be worth it because you
It's
get
interesting.
one more year. Yes, you're paying higher price, but it's just one season. Um, he's still getting value, um, but I think that that's something they should both at least approach and be open to. Because I mean, Dallas Goedert this year, I mean, 9 touchdowns in the NFL as far as 9 touchdowns receiving the entire year. That's really, really good. His yards are still they're
Yep.
okay. 551, it's good. It's good. Like, you can't be upset. 10.2 yards per catch. He's just been solid. And that's exactly how I describe him. A
Hmm.
solid tight end. You can depend on him. Um, and so I'm glad we have him. Glad that AJ Brown got a touchdown this game. Devontae Smith had a huge, huge catch. One part that's interesting that I'm going to make a note about for wide receiver three for maybe coming into 2026, Darius Cooper had two catches for 29 yards in this game. A lot of people don't know Darius Cooper. He was the training camp darling, but I think he has just about taken the role away from Jahan Dotson to be the number three wide receiver,
Yeah.
um, which that's a big deal. And if we could get Darius Cooper to be our number three, I think that'd be an upgrade. Um, I I've also got a funny prediction, Andrew. I predict that this offseason, somehow, some way, Kyle Pitts is going to end up on the Eagles. I I can
Interesting.
I can see it happening. I don't want it to
He's
happen,
going to be more expensive than Goddard, though.
but I don't think he's a free agent. Is that right? Or is he a
Pitts,
free agent? Yeah.
I
Is
think
he a
Pitts
free
is
agent?
I think he is. I think this is his last year of his rookie contract.
I don't know, man. I Let's look it up because I thought, oh, he will be. I don't know. I've got this weird feeling in my gut that somehow he's going to end up in Philly. I don't know why. It's not the move I
Hmm.
would make, but it's one
I
I
would
just
guess that
say,
he's going to Kansas City because Kelsey's probably
mm,
going to retire and they
see,
need a tight end.
I don't think it's going to be him. You know who I think it's going to be? It's going to be Goddard. I really think that Goddard's
Yeah.
gonna go over to Kansas City. I would say also like this is the little nugget that people aren't forgetting about. But anybody remember who used to be um, Dallas Goddard's head coach? Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson was Andy
Hmm.
Reid's offensive coordinator. I think that there's more familiarity between Dallas Goddard and the Chiefs passing game than there would be between Pitts and their passing game. It's not going to be as long term of an answer, but if I'm the Chiefs, that is where I'm putting all my money. Tell Kelsey, thank you so much. Appreciate everything you did, and go get a player that's going to. Could you? I couldn't even imagine, Andrew. Dallas Goddard and Mahomes together would be such a huge upgrade versus what Kelsey's been able to offer this year. He's a great dude.
Hmm.
I like Jason or Travis Kelsey as far as a player. He's talented and he's had a good season or a good career. But this season, I think he would admit that it's been subpar. He's not been who he's been in the past.
Yeah. It's just he's at that age cliff. Father Time's undefeated. And he just doesn't have that quickness, that step anymore. He can still read defenses. He still's got the chemistry with Mahomes, but when you catch the ball and then you're immediately tackled, you can only do so much.
Yeah. Well, I think the part that had been probably the most concerning for him has been the drops.
That too. Yeah.
I mean, thinking about it, he had a huge interception that he caused against the Texans and the Eagles. Two plays where he just
Hmm.
didn't catch the ball that are directly like, that's on me. And it changed the game for being able to compete against
Yeah.
this team. I think that that's the big thing I'm thinking in the back of my mind. Like, it's okay to drop a pass to some degree. It's not okay to give it to a defender.
Hmm.
Like that's what made the last week for the Eagles with the Chargers game and the AJ Brown drop so painful because you're helping out your opponent in a huge way there, and it wouldn't happen if you didn't try to catch it. Like that's the frustrating part. If you don't try to catch that ball, an AJ Brown moment or Travis Kelsey, it's probably not an interception.
Hmm.
Um, but anyway, that's enough of that Dallas Goddard tangent. I will shed tears about Goddard being gone. Next year, he's with the Eagles. This year,
Hmm.
um, and then wow, Andrew Tanner McKee 3 for 33 or 3 for 3, 33 yards. Like yeah, QB1 right there. Apparently, let's just no
He
need
had
to
a
talk
perfect
about.
QBR, didn't he? Yeah, he had 100
Uh,
QBR. Can't get any better.
yeah, Well, it's just the Eagles should bench Jalen Hurts right now because he's so washed and there's nothing left. And in the NFL,
Hmm.
if a player's having a bad week at quarterback, that's time to move on. JJ McCarthy, same thing.
Absolutely.
They're
Hmm.
irredeemable. There's no possibility that they could have a bad game and then come out and have a great game the next week. So,
Because we know that sports fans and sports commentators, patience is their middle name. We know that, so they just know what they're talking about.
well, it's just so funny to me because last week there's that dumb rumor that comes out that the Eagles are gonna take a high draft pick to get a quarterback, and maybe they will. But this is the part that's the most dumb to me. Tanner McKee is still on this roster and just had an amazing game. Why would we ever draft another quarterback high unless
Hmm.
we were absolutely convinced that they were going to be better than either of these quarterbacks? It's just it's silly, man. It's a silly mindset that was caused by an extremely unfortunate game. I mean, tell you what, Rich Eisen right now has been just putting up so many dimes in terms of solid content,
Yeah.
solidly reading the NFL. He told Eagles fans last week to take a breath, relax, sit down. I felt like that he was on the right track. And it's not about, you're going to win the Super Bowl. That's a really ambition. There's one team out of 32 wins the Super Bowl, in case no one can do math. One out of 32. Just want to make sure everyone knows that. Two out of
Hmm.
32 get to play in the Super Bowl. Just want to make those odds super, super clear for everybody. But guess what? You could be hyped about 20 teams, but only one of them is going to win the Super Bowl. That's not the
Yep.
goal, I think, every season. The goal should be to be a competent, competitive football team. That's what the Eagles are offering. Not perfect. We've had a bad stretch, but I think things are potentially rounding into form. And I know Jalen only had 175 yards last week, but 12 for 15, 3 touchdowns, which should have been 4 touchdowns. It's a solid day. Um,
Hmm.
I'm pretty proud of our quarterback. He had a great job. He did a great job on 7 runs for 39 yards. He did get nicked up a little bit, so I am going to be watching that to see if that's a potential for issue down the road. Um, but man, Andrew, I think that's all I wanted to cover. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Zach Bond had a huge interception in this game. I just wanted to give him credit on that. That was a really big moment for Zach Bond to
Hmm.
he just somehow read the ball and like do you remember on Madden when you would throw the ball and it felt like the defender was like magnetized to the ball? And
Hmm.
you're like, I don't understand how the defender just caught that. They weren't in
Yeah.
position.
Those aren't physics. Yeah. Hmm.
Like that's what it looked like. It looked like he magnetized himself to the football, pulled it down, and great interception. Um, but yeah, I mean, it just overall another good game. Britton Govey's providing consistency at the punt return position. I like where they're heading. I really do. I like where they're heading, and we'll see what next week brings. We gotta beat the Commanders. Like that's a must. Um,
Yep. You beat the
and
Commanders, you clinch the division.
well, and I think that right now my hope is, and it's a big hope, but there's a possibility that the Bears could lose out just enough for the Eagles to still get the number 2 seed, and that would be a big deal because
Yeah, they have a tough schedule. They have the Packers, Lions, and 49ers,
I think they lose one of the two of those three. I think that's
or
totally
possibly all
realistic.
three. All three of those are good playoff teams.
Yeah,
It's going to be
and I
battle each
think
one.
and I think for the Eagles, they just need the Packers to lose one more game, right? I'm pretty sure. Uh, yeah, they just need the Packers to lose one more game.
Well, don't worry. Nine's got you. We play them week 18. Nine's got you.
Well, I mean, that'd be great. I mean, also, like, this is my final note, and then I think I've covered everything I've wanted to. Um, it is crazy how fast narratives change in the NFL.
Hmm.
Um, because last week the Eagles were dumpster fire. They go in and absolutely demolish the Raiders. And then at the same time, the Packers lose a gut-wrenching game to the Broncos, lose Micah Parsons,
Yeah.
also have Christian Watson that I think is going to be recovering from an
Hmm.
injury. So who knows about them? But this is the sneaky one that people I think are kind of like brushed under the rug because of the record. Devontae Adams, that hamstring injury. If it's as bad as some people are saying it is, um, that's going to be interesting. This is a little side note, Andrew, for fantasy football fans. It's his name is it Colby Parkinson? Is that the name of the
Yeah, the
Rams?
tight end. Yeah.
If you don't have him picked up and he's available, Today
Hmm.
is the day to pick him up because not only did he have a monster game last week, but if Devontae Adams is out, he is going to be getting more targets.
Yep, he'll be like probably their number two.
Yeah. So I will probably be starting him this week in fantasy football, Andrew, since I was
Hmm.
foolish enough to leave my two-headed monster on the bench between Goddard and him.
Hmm. You didn't need it though because you had 26 points from your kicker. That's all you needed.
Dude, that was what wasn't all I needed, but it helped.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you got a normal like 7, 8 point game from normal kickers, then it would have been tight. It would have been close, but you got 26, so you won by 20.
Well, I mean, I just shout out to the Seahawks offense. Thanks for being bad at scoring touchdowns.
Hmm. And like you said in our chat, the Seahawks are a team that you're not really scared of in the playoffs, the way they're playing right now. They could turn things around, but you kind of, out of the teams that's potentially going to be a playoff team this year, the Seahawks are probably the least scary, if that makes sense, as long as it's not at Seattle. If you have them in your home field, then you're like, all right, let's just take care of business because Sam Darnold's looking average again, and their defense had Philip Rivers playing decently against it. Not great, but he moved the ball. He had a lead for most of that game. So they're not super scary like they seemed to be a few weeks ago.
I mean, it's just weird, man. There's a couple of notes on the playoff stuff, but I think if I'm the Eagles, would I want to face the 49ers or the Seahawks on the road, like or at home against them? I think I'd want the Seahawks right now.
Yeah.
Um, I think we could beat either team, but I would much rather play the Seahawks. And then it is insane that the Detroit Lions are outside the playoffs looking at them. I
Yeah.
I am I know you said to get ready for that. I know you said it was possible, but I am still in disbelief that the Lions are 8-6. I dumbfounded, man. I am just dumbfounded that they might not make the playoffs. It's crazy.
And we'll get into it on our next episode, but Minnesota can play spoilers so much the rest of the season. It's so fun. If we beat the Lions on Christmas Day, we might eliminate them from the playoffs, basically. And it's just going to be beautiful if that happens.
Oh, poor Lions, man. I like the Lions. I know you don't. I know that you've got your
Oh
I
no,
know
I,
they're your
I have no
rivals.
problem with the Lions. I just think they get overhyped and they're not a Super Bowl contender. They're a good team. They're a playoff team, but Jared Goff is not a Super Bowl winning quarterback in my opinion. And they've dealt with some injuries, losing their coaches. They've kind of taken a step back, and it's kind of showing. And I don't think Dan Campbell can do it by himself. He needs a legit OC and DC, and then
I
he can
mean,
motivate. He can lead, but I don't think he can do it all by himself.
I think that I mean we got to throw out the fact, Andrew. Jared Goff is averaging at 110.4 passer rating. That's pretty good.
Hmm. But what's his
He
record?
Yeah, I know. I think there's other factors that are also at play. That defense did not play well on Sunday.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But he's getting paid enough money to where they don't have a lot of money to spread around. I know he's not getting top five money, but he's getting top 10 elite kind of money. And I just don't think he's that kind of quarterback. If he was getting paid like, I don't know, 15 to 18 in that range, and they can build around him, hey, you have something there. But they just extended him a couple of years ago, and now they don't have the money to build that defense.
I mean, but the injuries also have to be a factor too, though. I mean, we have to account for that. The
Every
Lions are
team gets
having.
injured. Every team gets
Oh,
injured.
come on. We're talking about the Lions here, Andrew. They have dealt with so many injuries the past 2 years, like an unprecedented level of injuries on defense.
Yeah, not so much this year though. This year they've been injured, but not as much as last year. And
I
last year
wanna
they
I
had a better
wanna
record.
it's true they had a better record last year, but they also I'm telling you, man, when you're in that top spot, you just always seem to I mean, yeah, man, Brian Branch, Terrion Arnold, Zach Cunningham, like that is not nobody. That's three
Yeah,
starters. And then,
Tyrion Arnold's fine. He's not great. He's fine.
dude,
Brian
you're being
Branch, that's
ridiculous.
big. No, I've seen Tyrion Arnold. We played it against him 2 times every year. He's fine. Brian Branch, that does hurt. That does hurt.
Uh, I think you're being a bit unfair these are tough injuries, and this is just this season. And then you also have other role players like Dan Jackson, Marcus Davenport, and Enos Rakashaw. I mean,
Oh, if you're
Rakastra.
expecting Marcus Davenport to do anything for you, then you're already on an insane thought process.
That's not
He's
what
going
I'm
to play
saying,
one
Andrew.
game and then he's going to get hurt like he always does.
I am just saying that to blame the quarterback for the reason why this team is not taking off,
Oh
I
no.
think is a
I'm
bit.
not that's not the only reason. I'm just saying you're not going to win a quarter not going to win a Super Bowl because of Jared Goff. You can win one with Jared Goff, but not because of. And they built this team around because of. And I just don't think that's going to happen.
I don't know, man. I think their biggest problem is their injuries. I still think that's their biggest issue. Yes, coaching staff agreed. That's a problem.
Yeah,
But,
but everyone's having so many injuries. You guys are dealing with a lot of injuries. The 49ers are dealing with a lot of injuries. The Rams
well,
have dealt with a big injury with Devontae Adams now.
out for the season is different than not available. Would you not agree with that? I think that that's a difference.
Depends on the player.
I mean, I don't know, man. I just think losing Brian Branch definitely, and Terry Arnold is not nobody. He's not Quinion Mitchell. So, by the way, hashtag nice job, Eagles, getting Quinion Mitchell over Terry Arnold, but he's
Hmm.
not nobody. I mean,
He's not, but he's not like you're losing Sauce Gardner on your defense. He's
okay,
fine.
that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. That's a big deal, man. That's a big deal with the injuries they're dealing with. And again, it's not an excuse. You have to still win, but I do think it's a mitigating factor to consider for. They do have to switch something up, though. I don't know if it's the training staff. I don't know if it's the way they're
Hmm.
practicing, but too many injuries to me over the past 2 years, like long-term injuries. Like if the player's out for the year this much,
Hmm.
it can't just be luck at this point. But I digress, Andrew. I digress.
Yeah, and all I was gonna say about the Eagles is this was the perfect get right game. You needed this game to build
Yeah.
your confidence. Then you have the Commanders next week, which is another get right game before you play the Bills. That's going to be a test. So two get right games before a true playoff game. So get their confidence up, start, developing things on offense. And I mean, just look at this 47 carries to 18 pass attempts. That's phenomenal. That's Eagles football right there. Now I know the game was out of hand. You're not going to do that every game, but that is the way the Eagles won last year is by focusing on the run, play action, Jalen Hurts getting the ball out to open receivers. And you can't do that if you not run the ball well. And I know they only averaged 3.9 a carry, but they kept at it, kept pounding that football, and that's what you got to do.
Well, I mean, just in case everyone doesn't know, it's 10 yards. It's all you need to get a
Hmm.
first down is 10 yards. So if you're getting about four
Yep.
4 yards a carry, there's no reason to stop. I know people
Hmm.
complain about it, but that's not the goal. It's just moving the sticks.
Yep. And then controlling that football, controlling that clock. I don't know how many times last year you told me about these like 10, 11-minute drives the Eagles just ended the game with. They haven't had that many this year. That game
It's
against
true.
the Raiders, they had some long drives. That was good. But usually it's been 2 minutes, three and out here, 4-minute drive, field goal. It's been difficult.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for the Saturday. We'll see how they do, and I we could be talking about the Eagles differently if they go in and beat Buffalo. If they can
Yeah,
continue to pack on
that's a big game.
these W's and yeah, so it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see how the next month goes, but it's nice to turn the page from November. That was a rough month for Philly.
Hmm. And it was a bunch of close games too. Games
Yeah,
that Philly basically lost because of them, not because of the other team. That's what I would say.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. Was there anything else you want to touch on with your precious
No,
Eagles?
nope. I'm ready to. I'm excited for to get to our next podcast segment to talk about the other game, the Men in Purple.
Yes. Yes. Talk about a certain quarterback that everyone seemed to give up on prematurely. We'll get into that and a lot more. Thank you guys so much for joining us in this episode of the Gridiron Grind with Andrew and Lance. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and we will see you next time.
We'll see everybody.